There was one time our pilot misbehaved, and one of my sons in the Lord said, let me go for training. I said, before you finish, I will have finished my job. Because before you are qualified to be a captain, you must have flown 3,000 hours. So I can't wait for you. You know, that's why we have very low key leadership rating among many. It is not an endowment, it's an accomplishment. It is not in the title we wear, it's in the values we carry and add in our field. Now, so I have come to define management, therefore, as the product of efficient management of self, of task, of material and human resources. Efficient management of self. So leadership begins with efficient management of yourself. Efficient management of yourself, and that corroborates scriptures. He said, if a man does not know how to rule his house, how shall he rule the church of God? 1 Timothy 3:5. So it begins with you. What does this entail? Management. Management simply here entails knowing where you are going, knowing what it takes to get there, committing yourself to getting there, and going the extra mile if it so demands to get there. Let me come again. Management of self here connotes knowing where you are going, knowing what it takes to get there, committing yourself to getting there, and going the extra mile if it so demands to get there. Management of self. It's not about drawing a schedule on when to play golf, when to play lawn tennis. That's not what I'm talking about. You know, because until your field is defined, your leadership potential can never have expression. There are many people operating in undefined field. Undefined. They are this now, next week they have jumped to that, the other week they have moved to this, and so they are jack of all trades. One road does not lead to the market, that's their concept. So they go through all the roads. And when you are traveling more than one road per time, you never get anywhere. You go here small, you come back, you go here small, you come back, you go here, you come back. So that's what management of self entails. First, a discovery of your field, which is a task on its own. How many agree with that? Not just a discovery, but a discovery and a commitment to abide in your field. You see, I've been doing this stupid thing I'm doing in 28 years. Amen. And that's the only thing I've been doing 28 years. Nothing else has had any attraction to me. And many people go through their life without ever knowing where they are going. They are just going every waking morning to another job, and the following day another job, another advert, another job, and they go jobbing and jobbing and jobbing and arriving nowhere. You are a creature of dignity. You know, he said, I know my plans for you, says God, the plans of welfare are not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. So it's important to settle down and discover your place in that master plan. It's a glorious plan. Jeremiah 29:11. It's a glorious plan. It's a glorious plan. To discover it and abide in it takes a lot of discipline. Takes what? A lot of discipline. To discover it and abide in there takes a lot of discipline. When our church was still under 50 people, I said one day, in one of the meetings. I said, I will consider it a demotion if I were invited to President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I will consider it a demotion. Church was under 50. But I was so sure of my field that I will not sell off for anything. My birthright is precious to me. My future is in his plan, not in my plan. Somebody here know what I'm talking about. Today I've had the privilege of presidents of nations knocking on my door for attention, not for arrest. I've had the privilege of resolving major issues between government and oppositions in my house on their request. I've never been a party till I die. It's so important for each one of us to know you are not a creature of chance. You are a creature of destiny. There is something about your life that is awaiting your discovery. You need to know where you belong and abide there. Then knowing what it takes to get there is a greater task. Come on, say greater task. Knowing what it takes to get there is a greater task. Many know where they are going, but they don't know what it takes to get there. So they are always on the same spot because they don't know what it takes to get there. No matter how costly a vehicle, it can never generate motion without fuel. Information is the fuel of every vision. Every vision that is void of information will culminate in frustrations. Knowing what it takes to get there is a greater task. Knowing where you are going is a great task. Knowing what it takes to get there is a greater task. Because nothing can be more frustrating than knowing where you are going and not being able to get there. And I think the bankruptcy of many destinies is rooted in intellectual bankruptcy. Inability to be able to appraise the facts relating to the task that they are confronted with. And then committing yourself together. It's one thing to know what it takes. It's another thing to be willing to pay the price. Seest thou a man that is diligent in his business, that is committed to his business, that is fully engaged in his business? He shall stand before kings, he shall not stand before mean men. Proverbs 22 verse 29. It is input that defines output in any field. How much you put in will determine how much you can get out. Management of self. Committing yourself to getting there and then going the extra mile if it so demands to get there. That equals sacrifice. That equals what? So in the concept of management of self, we talk about vision, knowing where you are going. We talk about information, knowing what it takes to get there. We talk about diligence, giving it what it takes to get there. And we talk about sacrifice, going the extra mile if it so demands, like it will always demand to get there. Paul the Great said, I'm what I am by the grace of God, yet not I. He said, but I labored more abundantly than them all, Yet not I, but the grace of God that was with me. I labored more abundantly than them all. Say with me, labor. It is the quality of your labor that defines the limits of your future. The quality of your labor is what defines the limits of your future. And only those who care to go the extra mile command the extraordinary results. There is nothing extraordinary on its own, but by man's extraordinary input. Because like begets like. Your extraordinary input in your field qualifies you for extraordinary performance. And it's your performance rating that defines your leadership rating. It's your performance. So leadership is not in having responsibility. Leadership is in taking responsibility. Amen. It's in taking responsibility. If someone preaching as simple a message as Billy Graham has been preaching for over 60 years could become a world-class leader by a simple message, that will tell you the extraordinary input, the quality of his self-management. Somebody hear what I'm saying? The quality of his self-discipline. Simple message. I don't think he's ever prayed for the sick in his crusade forever. You need to be saved. Come on here now, right now. I've been doing this 50 years. Come. And then the ones who are saved 1940 are still there giving testimonies. So you can make anything extraordinary out of your ordinary mandate. You can make anything extraordinary out of your own ordinary field. You can make anything extraordinary out of your own ordinary calling. You can make anything extraordinary. That tells you, therefore, that the overemphasis on vision is great, but it's not the whole truth. If it is only vision, I saw one for 18 hours. I should go and rest. 18 straight hours, open eye vision. Not that you slept and then somebody spoke to you. I was awake. We were speaking to each other. If destiny answers to vision, I should be the most last person in the world. God spoke to me and I spoke to him 18 hours at a go. Thank God for visions. I wish vision were just what guarantees you arrive at your destination. Oh, everybody will be there. It's more than that. That's why I said leadership is a product of efficient management of self, then efficient management of task. That's where skill development comes in. Come on, say skill. Efficient management of task. There are people in businesses here who perhaps have never read any literature regarding their business in their life. They are running it on common sense platform. So they end up with common results and in a common place. And so they call them common man. You know, people are always fighting about the common man, the common man. There are many common men because it's a lot of cost to get out of the common man level. So it's a lot of cost. Skill. Management of task is essentially a function of quality of skill at your disposal. Come and say skill. Now, you won't be surprised that there are people today in ministry who may not be able to define what is ministry. Talk less of how does it run. So, people are building factories today without knowing next to nothing. They just have money and then they think the next thing to do is to build a factory, a pharmaceutical factory. He has no idea of any kind on how it is to be built and what is to be done. And he wants to make a mark there. Particularly among our own part of the world, our race, there is no genuine value for skill. We leave issues to chances. And then religiously, I know God will do it. God will do what? Did he wear your clothes for you this morning? He said, God, I thank you. Now I just came back from the meeting last night, and I love you, so wear my clothes for me. You walk down here naked this morning. No substitute for skill. Every leadership endeavor or vision will always demand skill. I love the way David said it. It's said in Psalm 78 and verse 72. He said, he led them with the integrity of his heart and by the skillfulness of his hands. Skillfulness of his hands. Psalm 78 and verse 72. Skillfulness, skillfulness, skillfulness. By the skillfulness, management of task. As soon as your task is defined, then your responsibility is to build up the required skill in accomplishing it. You know what I'm saying? My son, who led the choirs, vocal for the choir this morning, is a graduate of Covenant University and is doing his master's here. Now, see, when Covenant University's vision came, great, it was a bright vision. But then, what does it take to run it? So I went after 9 world-class universities to understudy the nitty-gritties of their founding and their program development and what has sustained them over the years. And after those 9 extensive explorative studies, I propounded what I consider the philosophical foundation of Covenant University, built up its stamps and ready to fly. And I proclaim this is the new generation Harvard. And that's what it is today. Covenant University today has the #1 engineering faculty all across Africa. There are equipments there that you don't find anywhere else. Skill. There is no spiritual substitute for skill. Say with me, no spiritual substitute. You don't fly a plane by spirituality. You speak in tongues, then you enter the cockpit, and then you start the engine. You don't even know where to start. The moment you mention your name and they ask you their questions, since you don't know how to answer, they know that a suicide bomber is there. All the London police will gather in 1 minute. And then the firefighter, everybody, the Air Force, because there's a suicide bomber in the cockpit. There is no spiritual substitute for skill. That's why many charismatics are grounded. There is no spiritual substitute for skill. No ministry, for instance, will outgrow the quality of its structure. No. No company has a future without an efficient organizational structure. And there are many, many businesses here that don't have no structure at all. You can go to work in the morning, sell, buy, and spend. And spend. You spend anything, anyhow. Everything that you sell to you is spendable. Capital plus profit. And after some time, we don't even know what happened. Satan, I bind you. Satan will be laughing. Say, I didn't come there. You are the only one. You better bind yourself and free yourself. There is no spiritual substitute for skill. I'd like you to write it down, please. Don't write any other thing if you like. But there is no spiritual substitute for skill. There is no spiritual substitute for skill. I will never approach any task in my life on common sense. No. When we are going to start Word of Faith Bible Institute, I went through 8 Bible schools, gather all their materials, study all their materials, ask those I could meet questions among them, and then from their questions I knew why they were where they were, so I would not repeat their problem. There is no substitute for what? Skill. So our Bible school began in 1986 and is growing in tempo continuously. One of my sons who graduated in the Bible school in 1995 has one of the largest churches in Nigeria today. They are building a 40,000 seat auditorium right now. And took me 1 year, 3 months to build the curriculum. There is no substitute for skill, no spiritual substitute. There is no prayer substitute. There is no fasting substitute. All prayers and fasting will still require that to acquire the skill. You can pray for God to help you learn fast how to drive, but you can't pray to take the steering. Now I finish praying, Lord, I take the steering. Go with me. He said, I will not go with you because you need the skill, otherwise you'll be killed. Efficient management of task. Efficient management of task. Then efficient management of material resources. Come on, say material resources. You believe in budgeting your resources, time and energy and finance. Praise God. When I'm talking about, I'm not talking about finance alone, I'm talking about your time. There are many poor time managers. You could never find a poor time manager who imagines a leader. Great leaders are efficient managers of time. They don't only go to work, they actually work. Most people run their own businesses. They only go to work, they don't work. They have O2 and O3 that answers every second. Even when they are praying, their phones are on. They answer the person, yes, I'm praying. Then another person comes, yeah, I'm about to finish praying. Efficient management of material resources, which includes your time, your energy, and then your financial resources. Show me any great leader of worth is a sensitive time manager. Sensitive time manager. Is a committed energy manager. He knows where to invest his strength, and he does. He runs his life on well-defined budgets. He's not a careless spender. He has his priorities right. He invests on things that add value to him and enhances the values he adds to others. You can't be in all those things and not manage human resources at your disposal productively. You will. Because it will build up to that. That's why from Genesis 1:26, Genesis 2:8, 15, and 16, I've come out with that definition that leadership is the product of efficient management of self, task, material, and human resources. And management of self is the baseline for your leadership heritage to have expression. That's where it begins from. When you fail at self-management, you never emerge a leader in any field. Never emerge a leader in any field. I hope we are having a very good classroom experience, are we? You can see now that they don't clap in this kind of meeting today. This is no more simple equation. It's graduating to complex equations. But you have all it takes to grab it. I want you to leave here and just reprogram your life, because there is more inside you than you ever can imagine. It's just to prime it so it can move into motion. You know, there is a lot inside you. There's a lot inside you. There's a lot inside you that's awaiting you taking full responsibility to be made manifest. There's a lot inside you. Let's therefore look at what I've called leadership covenant. Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 5 to 18. They said, there's an evil I've seen under the sun, as an error that proceeds from the king. I've seen fools set in high places, and the rich sit in low places. I've seen servants riding on horses, and princes walking on foot as servants. What is responsible? He that removeth stone shall be endangered. He that breaketh an edge, a serpent shall bite him. Now, that's where the word covenant comes. That means that situation arose because people have broken the edge. Now that you know you have a leadership heritage, for you not to lose your own place on your horseback, let's find out the analysis of their situation. Verse 10 says, if the iron be blunt and you don't sharpen the end, then you need to put in more strength. But wisdom is profitable to direct. Now they lost their place, one, for loss of direction. Come and say loss of direction. When your life lacks a bearing, it becomes a burden.